Well, a warm and wonderful good morning to you, Grenada, Caribbean Mountain, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. It is Tuesday. It is the 5th day of the month of March. And indeed, it's a pleasure being here with you on another wonderful morning. Indeed, we're happy that you slept, you're awakened, you're energized, and you're ready for the demands and asking of another really great day. Either way, it's your boy Joseph Kado here with you. You call me JC, and I want to say thank you for being part of this morning's conversation. Thanks for being part of the classic family. You've awakened and you're up and about and you're ready to do your due. I know most of us, the morning time, some say it's not the best time for them, but either way, in life we have to do what we've got to do. And indeed, we're up, we're about. And I want to say a wonderful good morning to you, those of you here at home across the region and in other parts of the diaspora. Thanks for being part of the morning conversation. Tuesday, another day, and of course it's about productivity, and I hope you've awakened in a good frame of mind and you're ready to be productive. Either way, one way or the other, you're ready to take the bull by the horn and commit yourself to another day of productivity, another day that allows you to be the best version of yourself, an improved version of yourself, reminding you that yesterday's all gone and today is here, and we make use of the opportunities that are available, notwithstanding the challenges. Yep. So again, we're going to move things forward. Of course, there's the thought for the day. There's also the word for the day. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to afford you the opportunity. Yesterday, we're going to go back to the question that we did ask as we continue with our March 13 quiz. Yeah. So I'll make it quite easy for you because it was a question that was asked yesterday. Now, what type of economy was the PRG developing in order to achieve its immediate goals of a higher standard of living for Grenada's population? So I've given you the question again today. Hopefully we can find an answer before we advance it to another day. Of course, keeping in mind that the morning edition of news comes up in just a bit. We do have a caller that's on the line. Yes, good morning, caller. You are live.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, and how are you?
How are you?
I am wonderful, and what about yourself? I am hearing you. How are you? Are you there?
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Are you hearing me? Okay, well, I was hearing her loud and clear. 435-2041. We're looking for another winner in the morning time. And I want to encourage you, once you call, we carry out a conversation via the telephone, just for the purpose of clarity and we understand each other. If you try to listen me on your device, you would always realize that there is a delay. Yes, so you would listen to me. We conduct the conversation via the telephone. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
What is it you have? Are you close to your television? What is it that you're close to?
The radio.
You're right. You need to move away. Take the radio off or move away from the radio. Listen to me on the telephone. And again, that is just standard protocol. Of course, we encourage the young ones, even the parents, you encourage them. So we conducting the conversation via the telephone. Yes, are you still there?
Yes.
Right, so what is the answer? Do you need me? You have the answer?
Is it Mexican?
I am hardly hearing you. You're still close to your radio. I need you to take the radio off or move away completely.
Is it a Mexican?
Is it what, sorry?
Is it a mixed economy?
Yes, it is a mixed economy, and congratulations to you. And again, just remind you, next time you have to call, you listen to me via the telephone, because I'm still getting that feedback in the background.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is, in fact, a mixed economy. So here's what I'm going to do. Just hold for me one moment, and I will take your particulars off air. Okay, but congratulations to you. And where exactly are you calling from?
H.A. Blaze Street.
H.A. Blaze Street. Stay right where you are. Congratulations and good morning to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As you continue, just hold the line. Don't hang up. Don't hang up at all. stay right where you are. Right? Well, we're keeping our eyes on the clock at this time. We're getting ready for the morning edition of news right here on Classic 105.5 and 105.9. For those of you that is on radio, you get a rebroadcast of last evening's newscast. The morning edition of news comes up next right here on Classic in the morning time.
When you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. Oh, I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me whenever you're in need. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide. The light that shines our way. Wherever you road leads, we'll make your dreams come true. Next side, next side, next side, next to you.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
Good evening. This is GBN's News at 7. Vincentian authorities have taken a decision to waive jurisdiction over 3 Grenadian fugitives who were apprehended in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. News of this today marks a significant turn in the case, which has been making headlines in the United States. Nisha Paul has the latest details.
A deportation order was handed down from the Kingstown Magistrates Court on Monday for the 3 Grenadians who are now the main suspects in a case of 2 missing U.S. citizens. The decision was made after the St. Andrew residents, 19-year-old Trevon Robertson, along with 30-year-old Ron Mitchell and 23-year-old Atiba Stanislaus, appeared before a Vincentian magistrate for sentencing on a series of immigration charges after pleading guilty.
A magistrate in St. Vincent has decided that they will be repatriated, extradited to Grenada, and at that time they will face the consequences of the allegations that they had killed, murdered, raped, stolen, entered St. Vincent illegally.
Attorney Jerry Edwin has volunteered his service on behalf of the 3 Grenadian fugitives who were captured in St. Vincent and the Grenadines 3 days after they escaped lawful custody at the South St. George police station. 1 day before they were scheduled to appear before a St. George's magistrate on a series of serious charges, including robbery with violence and rape. They were captured on February 21 in a house close to a beach in the northwestern village of Petit Bordel in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The men reportedly hijacked a catamaran which was found abandoned in Vincentian waters. It is alleged that the boat owners, an American couple, were disposed of on the way to St. Vincent and are feared dead. The case has attracted negative international attention and has raised obvious questions about how the 3 men were able to escape.
We think that it is important that Grenada gets its good name back as soon as possible. Listen, Grenada is the safest place in the Caribbean. We cannot allow even a one-off incident to rob Grenada of this well-deserved, well-earned reputation.
Attorney Edwin said despite the heinous nature of the allegations against the men, his role is to ensure that due process is followed.
I have indicated to the Director of Public Prosecutions that I will be assisting the young men amicus when they arrive in Grenada. What that means is that we'll proceed by paper committal, so we will not waste the court's time. We always say that these matters delay in the courts. There's long remand periods in the prison before these matters actually come up to be heard by a judicial officer. But I think everyone would agree it's in the national interest. It's in the interest of the law, of justice, of the victims, that the matter be heard immediately by the courts.
It is unclear at this time exactly when the escapees will be returned to the island. According to a report from St. Vincent, the men were detained to be handed over to SVG immigration authorities for deportation. However, it is unclear at this time exactly when the escapees will be returned to the island. GBN will continue following this story and bring you updates as they become available. For GBN News, Nisha Paul.
March 22nd is the date set for the St. George's High Court to decide the minimum term that murder convict Dave Benjamin should serve on the life sentence that was handed down to him in January of 2018. We get more in this Nisha Paul report.
This development comes approximately 8 months after Dave Benjamin's appeal against the sentence was heard in the Court of Appeal, which upheld the ruling but remitted the matter back to the High Court for an assessment of the minimum term to be served by the appellant before review. Dave Benjamin was sentenced to life in prison on January 17, 2018 for non-capital murder in connection with the January 24, 2016 murder of 39-year-old American tourist Jessica Kalka, who was reportedly raped before being found dead near a stretch of beach in St. David, where she had been walking with her husband. The incident occurred approximately 2 months after Benjamin was reportedly released from prison after spending 7 years for rape. Benjamin was 26 years old when he was initially arrested on a capital murder charge, which was eventually reduced to non-capital murder, which he pleaded guilty to on the eve of the trial. Benjamin is being represented by attorney Andre Thomas in the matter, which was prosecuted by Crown Counsel Howard Pinnock. The legal minds addressed the pressing issue when the matter came up before High Court Judge Madam Justice Paula Guilford at the St. George's No. 1 High Court on Monday. Citing various points of law, they urged the court to consider a minimum term that is just and appropriate in the circumstances of the case. Justice Guilford reserved her decision to March 22 after hearing the various arguments put forward by the Crown and the defense. At present, Grenada does not have a parole act. However, there is a prisons review board in place to periodically review long-term sentences. According to information emanating from Monday's hearing, Benjamin, who has been incarcerated since his apprehension in connection with the death of the American woman just over 8 calendar years ago, has been making significant strides in academics, sport, and the prison bakery. For GBN News, Nisha Paul.
March 13th, 2024 will mark 45 years since the 1979 revolution, a milestone that serves as both a moment for Grenada to reflect on its journey and its enduring bond with Cuba. Rena Pierre-Thomas has this story.
March 13, 1979 was a pivotal movement in Grenada's history which paved the way for social and political transformation. The 45th anniversary of the revolution not only provides a time for reflection on Grenada's journey, but also an opportunity to reaffirm the enduring friendship and collaboration with Cuba, a bond forged through shared ideals and mutual support. Over the past 4.5 decades, Grenada and Cuba have cultivated a strong relationship characterized by solidarity and cooperation across various sectors. Cuba has provided invaluable assistance to Grenada in areas such as healthcare and disaster relief, demonstrating a steadfast commitment to supporting its Caribbean neighbor. Education is another cornerstone of the Grenada-Cuba partnership, with numerous Grenadian students receiving scholarships to study in Cuba. These educational exchanges have not only empowered Grenadian youth with valuable skills and knowledge, but have also fostered cultural understanding and friendship between the two nations. Augustine Jessamy, a Grenadian who completed studies in Cuba, spoke of the opportunity given to him due to the 1979 revolution and the Grenada-Cuba relationship.
I've come across some piece of statistics recently that prior to 1979, prior to the revolution of 1979, I think there's only 3 scholarships that were given to Grenadians to study abroad. And those, as you rightly put it, came from, went to Mr. This and Mr. That, sons and daughters. So that opportunity was beyond the reach of people like me. And so while we are celebrating 45 years of the relationship with Cuba, we also are celebrating 45 years of the March 13th, 1979 revolution. Okay, so these two things are together because as a result of the revolution, people like me from working class parents were able to get an opportunity to go study in a tertiary institution of learning.
Furthermore, Cuba's assistance in disaster response and mitigation has been instrumental in helping Grenada confront natural disasters and build resilience in the face of adversity. From providing humanitarian aid in the aftermath of hurricanes to sharing expertise in disaster preparedness and responses, Cuba has stood in solidarity with Grenada during times of crisis. Dana McQuilkin, a Grenadian who obtained her first degree in psychology in Cuba, shared her experience.
It was the culture. It was the way people lived. You know, there were just things that you hadn't seen, that you weren't used to. You were made to become innovative. Mm-hmm. You're made to think outside of the box. And I don't want it to sound like, you know, there were periods when it became a bit difficult because sometimes, you know, there was no water for days and things like that. But these things make you appreciate what you have and make you understand the strength that you have.
As the 45th anniversary of the revolution approaches, the enduring friendship between Grenada and Cuba serves as a testament to the power of solidarity and cooperation in advancing the shared goals of peace, development, and prosperity in the Caribbean region and beyond. Rena P. Thomas, GBN News.
Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell will assume chairmanship of CARICOM in July 2024 when Grenada hosts the 47th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community. More in this Beverly Telesford report.
When the CARICOM heads convene again in July in Grenada, conversations will continue from where they left off at the recently concluded 46th session in Guyana. CARICOM heads deliberated on several pertinent issues, including the present humanitarian crisis in Haiti, plans for the upcoming T20 Cricket World Cup, launch of a campaign to address crime and violence in member states, and food and energy security. Speaking to a representative from the Department of Public Information in Guyana, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, the incoming chairman of CARICOM, outlined some of the decisions taken by heads at the 46th meeting.
Advances in relation to the CSME and particularly free movement of our nationals to the Haiti situation. That took up a significant portion of the initial time. I think the press conference will be held shortly as well as the closing ceremony. And so I don't want to preempt what Dr. Ali is going to say on that, but I think we feel we've made some progress. The intention is really to seize the moment and proceed with it. The issue of crime, violence, public safety. As you may be aware, we had met last year in Trinidad and declared crime and violence a public health issue. There are a number of initiatives that we want to take, but crucially we want to pay a lot of attention to our young people and how we can use the creative economy, the entertainment economy, sports to be able to really mount a campaign that ensures that we don't promote antisocial behavior, we don't promote gun violence, we don't promote violence in general, to really start addressing some of those issues.
The July meeting will also see revered Guyanese cricketer and Caribbean hero Sir Clive Hubert Lloyd, CBE AOCM, being conferred with the Order of the Caribbean Community, or the OCC. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, CARICOM chair on the final day of the 46th meeting, made the announcement. Prime Minister Mitchell also spoke of Sir Clive, who was a special guest during a plenary session.
We have again agreed to confer on Sir Clive Lloyd, CARICOM's highest award for his outstanding contribution to cricket and in particular leadership in cricket and leadership in the region.
The 47th regular meeting of the CARICOM Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community will be held from the 3rd to the 5th of July, 2024. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
The government of Grenada is continuing its steps towards developing and implementing a new pension plan for all public workers. More in this report.
With an aim to fulfill its campaign pledge, the NDC government is pressing forward with the development and implementation of a comprehensive pension plan for all public workers. The third round of consultations commenced on Monday with a focus on engaging statutory bodies. Participants from various sectors were given the platform to provide valuable insights into the proposed plan, offering suggestions on potential adjustments and enhancements. Following the session, attendees shared their perspectives with the news team.
I think at this time there is a need for the discussion because pension is a hot topic and we have to look out for the persons who have made a valiant contribution to grow Grenada, and when they retire at least, they should have some benefit coming to them.
I think it was enlightening. I think for a lot of the statutory bodies it's something that they have an obligation in some cases, and for some of the statutory bodies who does not have a pension plan, this obviously provides some service and some benefit to their members, their staff.
Lyndon Marshall, Permanent Secretary in the Department of Public Administration, highlighted the pivotal role of Mr. Derek Osborne, an expert from the international consultancy firm specialized in actuality science, in spearheading the discussions alongside her department. Marshall outlined the week's schedule, emphasizing the importance of these deliberations in shaping the future of pension provisions for public workers.
This third round we started today with the statutory bodies. We are going to speak further with our public officers later on this afternoon, and we particularly targeted the middle-level supervisory type workers. And then this evening we're moving to the St. Andrew's Methodist School, where we're going to speak to the public in Grenville. Tomorrow, God's willing, we move to Carriacou, and we're going to be at the P.T. Matney IT office in the morning, and in the afternoon at around 4:30, we are going to be in the Hillsborough Government School in Carriacou. And on Wednesday, we're back with the private sector, the Conference of Churches. We're going to have the discussion with them in the morning, and later on in the afternoon, we're again going to meet with more public officers.
The final consultation is slated for Wednesday evening at the Grenada Trade Center, commencing at 6 p.m. Marshall extended an open invitation to the public, encouraging citizens to attend and gain a deeper understanding of the proposed pension plan. While the initial implementation date for the proposed pension plan was set for January 1st, 2024, a revised timeline has been established, said the PS.
We need to make sure that we cover all bases, so we've moved now to July 1st, 2024. Hopefully we can have all the requirements in place before that, but we don't want to under-promise, so we extended to July 1st. Hopefully we can get everything done within that time. Well, the next step is to get the approvals, the necessary approvals, and to further conclude on the governance committee and the administration of the plan and those sort of things. So we are working on all of that simultaneously so that we can be on a good footing to start firmly on July 1st.
As Grenada progresses towards reforming its pension system, these consultations serve as critical forums for constructive dialogue and collaboration between stakeholders, ensuring that the final plan aligns with the needs of the Grenadian workforce. Rena P. Thomas, GBN News.
Now we're going to see the respect for law and order as demonstrated by a child. It's time to take a peek through the GBN ISAW lens.
A good eye captures all. GBN ISAW is brought to you by Clear Vision.
heartwarming photograph is at the center of tonight's GBN ISA. Our ISA reporter submitted a photo of a young boy, who she referred to as Chiton, as he saluted Woman Police Constable Alicia Edwards outside the St. George's bus terminus. The police officer graciously returned the salute, which made Chiton's day. We thank our citizen journalists for capturing that lovely submission. Our ISA line is open for your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp at 405-3052 or our other social media platforms.
Get ready to witness the ultimate showcase of talent, speed, and determination at the 2024 Carifta Games. This prestigious event brings together the best young athletes from across the Caribbean, competing for glory like never before. With the motto, many people, one region, celebrating athletics, Carifta embodies the essence of Caribbean unity through sports, igniting a flame that illuminates the future of sports in the region. Don't miss out on this incredible event taking place at the Karani James Athletic Stadium from Saturday 30th March to Monday 1st April 2024. Get your tickets now at Grenadian Optical or visit gotofed.com and secure your spot to be part of this extraordinary celebration of athleticism.
I'm a VIP. I'm a VIP. I'm a VIP.
Are you a VIP? Have you taken the necessary steps to safeguard your child's health? Let's get it right. Get your child on their vaccination schedule. Our national protection and coverage is our national priority. Our actions will impact Grenada's health and wellness. Let's make childhood immunization and vaccination number one. I am Senator Jonathan Lacrette, and I am a VIP champion. Let's make all our children VIPs, vaccinated, immunized, and protected.
Let's all be VIP champions.
A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Religious Affairs, Be a VIP Childhood Vaccination and Immunization Campaign in collaboration with UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization.
Pick your daily reward from the Quartz Ready Cash Money Tree. Every customer is a winner with every loan of $3,000 or more from Quartz Ready Cash. Plus, you get to enter to win a weekend for two at Sandals. No deposit, no collateral needed. All you need is your ID, proof of address, payslip, job letter, and 2 references. Visit your nearest Quartz or Ready Cash location today or apply online at www.quartz.com. Get more for 2024 with Quartz Ready Cash. We are ready when you are. Conditions apply.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Thompson, co-owner and founder of Grenada Tours, Taxi and Rental. We provide transportation tours in the field of tourism. Being in the field of tourism, the pandemic have taught us that we need all the help we can get, which the NIF has been very helpful in doing so. But as a small business owner, we are even more excited right now with the new initiative that the NIF have launched, providing a little bit more flexibility for small businesses like ourselves. So we definitely encourage all of the small business to consider getting on board with the NIF and this new initiative that allows the level of flexibility that they have implemented.
Grenada for decades. We are the #1 and largest electrical supplier.
Hi, welcome to Sunny Electrical. How may I help?
We offer electrical wiring accessories, tools, and appliances for all residential, commercial, and industrial applications, which is what we are known for. And we expanded our products with new innovative ways to modernize your home. New homeowners will be captivated in our lighting showrooms.
Some more pendant lights here. These are very multifunctional because they can work for kitchens, living rooms, bedrooms, bedrooms.
We have a wide selection of lighting, ranging from indoor to outdoor and solar. We are also available for site visit services to assist you with selecting the perfect light for your forever home. We are located at Dusty Highway in Grenada and St. George. Sudden Electrical. Best value, expert advice, quality products. We hope to see you soon.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
Grenada Carrick, Peter Manning, welcome back to you. It's Good Morning Grenada. Keeping our eyes on the clock, 10 minutes gone past the hour of 7 o'clock. If you're heading in the expectation that you have to get to work for 7:30, depending on where you are late. If you're still home, you are late. Again, I'll say to us every day, if your work time is 7 o'clock, Adams, you cannot get there for 7.
No.
Or to pay?
Absolutely. Unless it's 7 p.m.
And auto pay, if your work time is 8 o'clock, you cannot get on the job 8 o'clock. No. You need to be there prior. Good morning to two of my wonderful friends. I ordered them out of their houses, and I want to say to you that the luxury that I have, the privileges that we've, and the bonds we've built over the years, you would not be able to do that. But if you do need them at any point in time, let me know.
You're taking real liberty, man.
Listen, the state in which we're in now, a lot of people seem to be taking liberty and doing a whole lot of things. Davis Adams, Auto Pair, gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Grenada. Indeed, it's a pleasure being here with you. Auto Pair, you've worked with young men all of your lives.
Yeah.
And I can safely say to you, to Mr. Adams, because you've been an educator, principal for the greater part of the
boxer coach, all of that.
Boxer coach, and that's for the greater part of the 16 years that you've been on earth.
I wish I could roll back the hands of the clock for sure. Nonetheless, I'm enjoying where I am for sure.
Right.
So it's not an issue. I'm proud.
You are proud. You are proud.
I'm proud.
So
it's a pleasure to be here. It's
good to have you, gentlemen, here. Gentlemen, it's a conversation that we've had before, and we continue to. And I think there is a need to continue to echo it, because that's how change comes. We cannot be having a random one-off conversation, but us agitating the issue as we ask the question, are we in a crisis mode? What has gone wrong with our young men? In more recent times, the master control, if you can work with me, because you should have the videos, we saw there's been a spate of violence that has raised its ugly head in Grenada. And in more recent times, it seems to be more on the side of lack of respect for authority, where young men seem to think that it's okay to defy the odds and show to us that they are not going to respect the laws, the norms, and those statutes that makes our Grenada a safe place. I want to start with you, Ota. Are we in a crisis situation?
I would say yes. And I think that we have been in a crisis for a while now. And that crisis just
always seem to surface at some times that you never expect it to. I would start with this statement: ill-disciplined boys make ill-disciplined men. All right, and the foundation of discipline stems from the home. Now, you have a nice little cuddly baby, and that child becomes 1 year or 2 years, and you can see some traits in that child. And a lot of times, as parents, we laugh and we giggle when that little young man or that little boy, does something that we may consider as adult. And even when we were growing up, if we were to do that, we would have been disciplined. All right? And sometimes we allow that to happen for too long. And when that child turns 8 or 9, I have had the unfortunate privilege of hearing some parents say, I can't control him.
At the age of 8, 9?
Come on, man. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, when you're growing up, your parents would tell you they would lower your Britannia and higher your Union Jack. If you can't follow instructions, you can't listen, you take the door that a carpenter built. Adams, you agree with Pierce Otter's assessment?
I mean, unfortunately, yes, I have to agree with that statement because, as you would have known, I've been working with students for all my life. And I have seen the gradual, continued breakdown in discipline, in values, in accountability, in normal things that we held dear to our heart to keep our community, our society, and our schools. That looking up to authority as authority, whether it's at the school, whether it's on the road, the police, the person on the street, the man in the shop, those things we have seen but I don't no longer call it gradual, Arthur.
So it's just
it has just disappeared.
Yes.
Where when we looked up to people and we saw that we have to account for age and stage of life. We've seen that just actually disappear. And if I were to just point it to myself primarily, I started teaching at 18 years. And the students that I would have encountered at 18 plus years, the students I encountered when I taught for almost 37, 38 years, the attitude was, they were different. And you have seen it in the activities that you have just spoken about: ill-discipline, disorder, rebellion, fights, prisons, disrespect. You've seen all of it showing up now.
But there are those that made the argument that there's nothing new under the sun. That if you ask me, if you hear about schools, Otto, what is it that's happening in school
Before
now?
Otto goes there, I don't think that there's a truth that there's nothing new under the sun. But I think I just made a statement that I saw the difference between when I started teaching as an 18-year-old and when I was a teacher at 35 and 36 years old.
And that's why I make that comment, because we've seen a change.
We see the difference.
But yet we continue to hold on to this notion that there's nothing new under the sun. Something has changed.
Something has changed.
Yeah. Let me just start also saying this. There are some gaps or some stop points in one's life. Right? So you start with the home. That's where the child is born. That's the foundation.
Right.
And they were, in my time when I was growing up, the influence of home and the influence of church.
Home and church.
Yes. That built a foundation for that person to go through the paths of life. It puts some goodies in your bag so that you know exactly what you have to do. The next stop gap is the school.
Right.
Okay? And then, of course, when you have school, you have friends and all of that. But if the family created that foundation there, you know definitely what kind of friends you would gravitate to.
So is it safe to say that the situation, the environment that exists now, is more spiritual than anything else?
It has a great amount of issues as it relates to spirituality. Ask any student. Just pick students randomly, right? Let's say you pick 10 students and you ask them, how regular do you go to church? And you would, maybe 8 or 9 of them would tell you they don't.
So Adams, spiritual problem punctuated by the fact that society has evolved and our values, which again was hinged on our spirit, that spiritual relationship. So if the Bible remains the same, our values, our core values hasn't changed because the Bible remains the same, it means it's us that are opting to do our one thing.
Correct. And truth be told, the erosion in those values that we held dear to us over the years, you can see it tied into the issue of modernization, technology, influence of internet, and so on, where everybody has an open track to spew their beliefs, their different mindsets, whatever it is, and then it gets into the house and it gets into our students' phone because they have the phone, and our parents now are no longer the primary parents as they used to be, and I don't think we have found a way to halt that sort of influence that's taking place. So the issues of where parents, homes used to hold their children accountable.
I just want to say, village.
A village is hold the children accountable. In the schools, you can hold them accountable. The issue of accountability is no longer what it used to be. And instead, our parents are throwing up their hands in the air that they can do it again.
Is it then safe to say, as we keep our eyes on the clock, 21 minutes gone past the hour of 7, that we the adults have failed the young people?
Oh, man, miserably.
I'm probably not Arthur to speak, but it is
miserably.
The truth. Yeah.
Miserably.
It's the truth.
A lot of parents would say, I don't want my child to go through what I went through. Right?
It has come out of each and every one of our mouths.
Thank you.
Right.
But we have to put that in context. Now, let me give you a little bit of my history. I grew up, my father was a shopkeeper, my mother was a nurse, and we had land, and so that we had to farm. I always tell people the issue, for example, cornflakes. I never ate cornflakes maybe until I was in Form 4 or 5 in GBSS. What I knew was farine.
Right.
And I want to just give that and you had to make the farine. So you had the cassava, you had the grater, you had the bag to squeeze out this, and we used to call it a pay tray to put that out in the sun before we go and we roast it. No, that was work.
You had a tough boyhood.
That was work. And so the thing is that our children now don't even know how to survive outside of the internet and the things that we could get instantly. And that you had, I remember when I passed common entrance, one of the things that my father gave me was a sheep.
Right.
You understand me? And I was just telling a friend, I remember I reached home late from GBSS because we had something and it went up to about 9 o'clock the night or something like that. And when I got home, I had your supper and you're gone to bed. My father, hold on, my father didn't reach home yet.
Right.
You know, shopkeeper, he closing after 9.
Right.
You know, sometimes he stay a little bit later with the boys and so forth. So when he came home after 9 o'clock, ask me where the sheep. So you know what's going on?
I don't know.
Rain and all kind of thing. I had to go out and mix. So we have not. We say that we don't want our children to go through things that we go through, but we have to allow them to go through some testing, something that would teach them responsibility and value and care for the things that they have. Because trust me, see, that sheep bought my school books, it bought because the truth is that, I used to call the sheep worthless. You used to drop tree, every time you drop in tree.
What's the sheep there? Worthless.
Right? And every term, I was able to sell one sheep.
Right.
And I was able to have a little bit of money to be able to assist me with school and so forth.
Adam, I'm assuming yours may not have been farine and cassava.
I don't want to talk about farine and cassava and the sheep because actually it's very similar. But there's another point I want to bring up, and that's what we're dealing with in this environment: the issue of rights and responsibilities. And very often we teach our students their rights, our young people their rights. And that's the emphasis, and I have no issue with that. But we don't work with them with the same set of values and emphasis on teaching them what's the responsibility they have with all of those rights. So hence, a young man is on the street, an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, the police wants to issue an arrest, and they're able to tell the police what he should do or what he should not do, and cuss the police and tell the police what they want. And in the past, we could not do that. The point I'm making is, yes, you have rights, but with every right comes a responsibility. And hence, the police has a job, and we have to teach our children, hey, you have your business to mind, you have your job to do. Everybody has a job. For example, I'm a sports person. I don't like the one-start disqualification. But that's the rule.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And we have spoken about that in the past. The police has to issue an arrest because they, in their own judgment, something needs to be done. Who am I to tell the police that that is not right? He shouldn't do it that way. Hey, our society needs to understand that where we are now, we can hold the police accountable for his or her action.
Right.
So when we start to litigate what the police is doing wrong, rather than fighting with the police physically, I think our society, and so we have to train our children. Hey, there's something called complain. You have been aggrieved by what has happened on the road with the police or some adult. There's always a case of redress that you can have. And so I think that's what we need to look at as we move along, because this issue of our young men, and you spoke to it, just accosting the police, confronting the police. When the police has a job, whether you like it or not, let them do their job and then use your course of redress to write it.
And it's interesting. I remember that last video last week, and again, we want to say good morning to those of you that is out there via social media. We will attend to some of your comments, and we will open the telephone lines a bit so that you can share as well. But I think either way, the conversation goes back, gentlemen, to home.
Oh, yes.
Now, there are certain values that comes from home. The Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should grow. When he's old, he will not depart. And that stands. And that suffices. Whether or not you're Christian, you're good, you're bad, it doesn't matter. However you grew up, the environment that you grew up in, it helps to dictate who you are. I remember, for example, a simple thing, Palmer boy. Yeah, you didn't know I was a Palmer boy. Yeah, I'm an old Palmer boy. I came home, Adams, with a pencil. My mother had a strict rule. It's not yours.
Don't have it.
Don't have it. And she didn't care what it was. So she made the sacrifice to provide us the things that we needed to. She didn't have a problem if you went to school and you shared a book.
Right.
But you do not come in her house with anything. All my books was marked the legal property of Master Joseph Cador. That's yours. Nobody can take it. If it's not, I went home with a pencil. What wasn't mine? When I get home, where you get that from? And before I can start to stutter, she says, carry it back. Now, the child was living in Grenville, and she says to me that either the pencil sleeps here or you. Make up your mind. But two of y'all ain't sleeping in the same house. Thank God I went back to school. Miss Rabin, may God rest her soul, she was there. And she says, oh God, Joe, Lord. Because she knew. And those are things you knew point blank. Your parents, you came from home. And even though you saw things out there, in the back of your mind, you knew. You don't even dare think about it. Because there were consequences for your actions. But it's a point that we've made, that we grew up tough. But those were things that helped us to build character.
Yeah.
But in order, because we don't want our children to live that difficult life that we live, we've thrown the bathwater out, the baby out with the bathwater, and then 20 years later, we're asking ourselves, what has gone wrong? We don't know. We know what has gone wrong.
We know.
I don't think we honest. And last night that point came up on Beyond the Headlines when Pearson Stroud from the support unit at the Ministry of Education is saying, all we need to stop and do is be honest.
That's correct.
With ourselves.
That's correct.
Be honest with ourselves. 29 minutes gone past the hour. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we continue with the conversation and we engage some calls right here on Good Morning Grenada. Well, I can only assume that my boys in master control, while we here exhausting our voices, they probably having a sip of coffee somewhere. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the telephone line so we can engage some responses from the public. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Good morning, JC. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Right. Listen, quick. Very, very, or perhaps extremely important. We have identified as adults, we fail our children. The issue here, moving forward, do we accept that we have failed? And then, what is the cause? Unless we don't look at this situation in a tri-dimensional approach, we would not make progress. This is an area of immense importance, and we should not fail to address it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir. Accepting responsibilities for our actions.
Yeah. Valid point.
Valid point. We go back to the telephone line before we take the break. Good morning, caller. You're live.
A person, good morning to you. This is a very interesting program, and I must say that most of the things your guest mentioned, I'm in agreement with it. There are one or two things here there that I wouldn't take all the time to go into details. But I think that as parents, including myself in that, we have failed our children. And those of us who have gone through the mill with this and that, okay, parents, this is what they knew, and they taught it. And these whatever we call it, trials that we've gone through, we haven't changed. The thing about it is discipline was emphasized on all the other things. And as a result, some of us have made the grade got to the top, etc. But the thing is that parents today, when a parent would say, I am putting my child to the things I go, utter nonsense. I heard it said again that a child at 8 years, I don't know what to do. What do you expect? If you fail to guide a child along the right lines, you not probably have to use every instance that you went through. But there's certain things that, of course, to have that child disciplined and to be the type of citizen that he or she should be, you have, or whether one has to go through all of these disciplines so that the child would be somebody in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to ask a question before we take the break. Are we being hypocritical? We live in a society where years ago, and society has a way of pressuring individuals. If a woman gets to the age of 30, 35, even in the church circle, you've seen it. They start asking her, well, you're going to end up on the shelf. Your eggs will get hard. They go scramble. And we glorify sex, alcohol. We think it is okay that a young lady, as soon as she even know herself, that it's okay for her to get into production, into reproduction. And we think it is okay. The question is, and we always say, you cannot impart onto anybody else, Adams, what you have not learned. And you're a coach. You can't. If you're a child, what you would impart onto your child? Childish behavior. And we've seen it over the years where the parents will be becoming younger and younger. We're going to make the argument it was not new, but back then there was the extended family.
Yep.
And we accepted it is okay for a 21-year-old, as soon as you finish school, they'll make a child, you're independent, that's your rights. And now we complain, well, you can't. We'll take a quick commercial break. Adam, can I see you yearning? It's on your lips. You want to be able to belch out a response to that. But we take a quick commercial break. Very, very quick one, Master Control. And we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Classic in the Morning and GBN Television. With me in studio, Otto Pierre and Davis Adams. Folks, we continue to grapple with this situation. When we talk, your GBSS boy, hey, that's a good thing. Probably talk about it to call.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go
this early morning.
This early morning. 23 minutes.
Don't get me started now.
Well, I mean, the only thing is that Adams will have to leave the room because he knows he's outnumbered. 23 minutes out to the hour. On to the hour, and gentlemen, we're talking about the current state of our young men. It's interesting though. For years, we've tried to talk about the adults. We've dealt with the adults. Have we ever stopped Adams to talk about our young men? We know them, they're little cuddlies, little angels. We've always tried to address what's happening with the men.
Yeah.
Is it that we fail by let's leaving the kids? While we try to fix the men, we've left the children on their own to fend. And when I say left to fend, TV, they're on their own. Yesterday, and every time I see the gadgets, and I saw a little 5-year-old, and I was saying to Jim, my colleague, look at that. Wow. If you're on your own since you're 5, taking the bus, and we think, wow, this child is independent, make you thinking, if I send her in town, yada, 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 yada. Is that part of that growing sense of independence? I'm on my own since I'm 5, and I'm taking the bus, I doing what I want.
Yeah. But Joe, that's important. We got to teach our children to be independent, to be problem solvers. Those are good. Probably how our parents taught us to be problem solvers is by allowing us to do a lot of tasks, as Pierre would have said. And we were able to solve problems because we got to do the tasks and they get to school on time because we know we'll be held accountable for getting to school on time. In this day where it is different. We have to teach them to be independent by teaching them how to use the bus, how to recognize good activities and bad activities around them. All that is good.
However,
I have no problem. However, we also have to hold them accountable for their behaviors and for the discipline. And as I was saying during the break, one of the things we've concentrated on and we've done well at is teaching our children their rights, but and removing the word discipline
and
responsibilities. So we substitute rights for discipline. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody.
No. You are allowed to knock. You're allowed to knock.
But
we need to knock some things.
In essence, we have skewed it too much on one end of the spectrum and not taken the other end of the spectrum to make our children whole. And we can solve that problem. We can solve it. Our children, in the past, our parents, we did not want them coming to school because we know they're holding us accountable.
Right.
But now, in this modern era, our parents have to visit the schools. They have to make it part of their duty, and allow the children to see that they are holding them accountable, that they care for them, that they want them to do well. So they visit. On the sports field, in the training, they have to be there for them. And those are some of the ways we can solve some of the issues, because our children would see that their parents has them at heart.
And that, before I have a caller that's on the line. Good morning, caller, you're live. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
You are live. Go ahead.
Good morning to you, three distinguished gentlemen.
Good morning.
I'm not hearing you, but I trust that you're hearing me. We have a serious problem, a very serious problem. And what we are seeing out there is it's just probably the tip of the iceberg. I've spoken to many teachers, and these two gentlemen, I think they were teachers at one point in time, as I was. And teachers are saying to you, when children misbehave and they send for the parent, and the parent comes to the school, they're confronted with somebody worse than the child. The parent is worse than the child. So we have very toxic homes. The children are actually the victims. I'm not saying that we have to, tolerate what they're doing, but they are actual victims of toxic homes.
Okay.
Why are the homes so toxic? In many cases, it has to do with our men folk not carrying on their responsibilities. There are a lot of very angry mothers who are struggling without the help of a father to raise their kids. They have thrown their hands up. No one is helping them. And they have to, they go out for help and they get another one, and they are frustrated. So they take it out on the kids. The children are treated that way at home. They see their mother, visited by this man or that man. He abuses them, he insults them. So by the time they get into the school system, these are angry, broken children.
Okay.
The girls find other ways of dealing with it, unacceptable in many cases, but the boys tend to show it out in violence.
Okay.
So we have a serious problem. How we got there are many reasons we can cite, but it is a very serious problem. We have sown the wind and we are reaping the whirlwind.
Thank you, sir.
And we cannot stop with the children. We have to go back. Because in many cases, the homes are worse than the schools. That's what I would say for now.
Thank you. Wow. So it's almost like a Pandora's box.
Yeah, it's
interesting. It takes you back to an episode I had years ago. A little child at a school. Of course, he's at home. His father, of course, playfully, the father would kick the child. And he goes to school, and he kicks another child. And the teacher would ask him, well, why are you kicking the child? And he then turns and say, well, so she's telling him to say sorry. Mm-hmm. And his response was, it was around 3 overall. He hardly even put a good sentence together. And he looks at the teacher and says, Daddy kicks, don't say sorry. I am not saying sorry.
Simple.
Simple. So at home, Daddy's kicking him. God, for it's playful.
Yeah.
However, now you understand. And he makes a good point. If we breed violence, if the environment is one of frustration, we go to school, we frustrated Adams.
Yeah. But it has gotten worse. I mean, the truth is, it has gotten worse. And I agree with Mr. Bernard, what he said, because we see it in the schools. It has grown progressively worse. As a matter of fact, at the school where I taught before, when we saw what was happening with boys, Arthur, you might have been there.
Yeah, I came in there.
We came up with a program called Boys Week.
Yeah.
That's around early 2000, because we were trying to arrest what we saw as boys' lack of performance as well as disciplinary issues.
And building character.
And we invited
showing how to behave, showing how to treat other people, showing how to treat the girls in the school.
As a matter of fact, one of the things that we did was to allow boys to understand it is all right to be kind and polite to the opposite sex, rather than to, the attitude that we see now. And we did that. We made them dress, we made them speak, we made them look at professions. We did quite a lot. And we saw anecdotally, we saw changes.
But it's interesting you say that, because, and it goes back again to parenting. Either way. So we grew up here, and what are little boys made of? Little girls are made of sugar and spice.
All things nice. Yeah.
What are little boys made of? Puppy dog days, and all the worst of things. Your girl, your daughter falls, you pick her up gingerly, you hug her, and you say to her, and you dust her off. The little boy, he falls.
Stop crying.
Stop crying.
Be a man.
Be a man. And there's that primal instinct in us that we've not allowed them to tame. So they say to themselves that I need to be aggressive, that being aggressive is how I earn. You watch a movie and you hear them say, he doesn't respect me. And they think that to earn respect, there must be a show of violence. I have to claim respect, not realizing that respect must be earned, Arthur.
I want to segue into the issue of music and movies.
Well, this morning, actually, in the news, the Prime Minister, coming from the last CARICOM, he made a reference to it, the music, Arthur.
And we, men and young men and boys, always use the word about the issue of respect. And you let me go back. Between 2005 to 2008, we had a spate of violence, with the so-called gangs and all of that. And what some of the countries of the Caribbean realized, a lot of that stemmed from the music. All right. In fact, they called some of these artists the power brokers, because they were the ones that were perpetuating the issues of violence. To the very point where we use the same vernacular that they were using wherever they were using it in their music. Okay? So we were having all kind of ginger crew and this, that, and the other. All right? And they decided to change the lyrics. The lyrics some of the lyrics were changed, but they actually changed it into very explicit sexual things. And between 2008 and all of that, we saw now a gradual increase in the issues of HIV, STIs among our young people. Right? Now, the music that we listen to, the music that we allow our children to listen to without interpreting it for them, that is what they have gravitated to. We have allowed our cell phones and our gadgets, our tablets, to really culture the child into having some kind of values. And it has created and it has reaped havoc on our young people. Now, imagine you have children that are given cell phones at the age of 5 and sometimes even younger. And what you would see happen, they become extremely irritated if that parent were to take that gadget.
That's hell over high waters. Some would argue, though, and I guess it comes back to the issue of balance, that this is the current construct. That's the environment.
It is.
But you would agree, Adams, that there must be
solutions. There must be ways that we can counter this growing ill-discipline, lack of values, lack of respect. There must be ways. And I think that's what I think we should aim to. How can we now turn the conversation around to what we can do to stem this growing issue of ill-discipline among especially our boys?
Let's attend to this call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
How are you guys doing?
Wonderful,
Mr. Pierre,
thank you.
Mr. Adams, Mr. Kado, morning.
Good morning.
I like the point that was made about the music, but I want to ask, where does the radio stations fit into it? I've heard music played up to recently on this station, on GBN, because I do listen GBN. And it's like, is nobody monitoring these things? I mean, when Tupac hit them up and these sort of things is being played, I think we're being a little hypocritical with these things, right? If we want to solve the problem, we have to put all our efforts into it. And I think the airways, there are certain songs that should not get played. There are certain artists, they need to will and come again. And unless we address that and we fix that from that point, then we just spinning top in mud. All right? Have a good day, gentlemen.
Caller, I agree with you 100%. I say to people, there's some music I refuse to play. I refuse to play. You could say Joe old timers.
That's all right.
You old school.
That's all right.
I refuse to. I ain't gonna play though. Ask me to. I don't do it. Yeah, and that is therein lies the problem. I remember just over the holidays, Christmas, and I heard one of our on-air announcers that was saying in one of the media houses, engaging in a conversation, and I'm like,
you're shocking.
I don't. Hold on. Does he think that when he's on air, that he's just talking to his little buddies on the sidewalk, not realizing that it's a responsibility? And I said that some of our on-air personalities in the media, we are like runaway trains with no respect for ourselves, much less the greater public.
Yeah, we have to solve the problem, Joe, and it's a societal effort. It's not just the teachers, it's not just parents, it's everybody as one coming together and solve. Yes, we live in different eras, and we have to recognize that we live in different eras. But with every era, there are solutions that we can find. And if we can work toward it and sing from the same hymn sheet as relates, because we want our country to be a good place, a place where people feel safe, a place where people feel that when they come there, there's something about it that would allow them to be comfortable and secure. So we have to sing from the same hymn sheet, from the Prime Minister right down to me, to the man on the street, to the person in the village. Everybody has to. We have to hold everyone accountable.
It must be a holistic approach.
Here's a point I want to make, though, that as a society, we seem to have become immune. The shell-shocking effect that violence had on us at one time. I don't even pass your tongue. I guess I just old school. If I see two fly on a wall, flying too hard, I go to the next side of the road. But here's what happens. And I look at the incident on the carnage. You see an individual literally abusing a police officer. And I'm saying abusing a police officer. Because whether you agree with why the police officer is arresting the individual, that's a different story. But when police officer is conducting his duty, I want to arrest you and auto coming between you and I and telling me what you're going to do about it. And the other perpetrator is telling the police, don't handle me like that. Well, hello. If you were not infringing on the law, I was going to have to handle you anyway.
And the law was made for the lawless?
The law was made for the lawless. But what's interesting, there are people who was there recording the incident and nobody's saying to him, young man,
comply. Simple. Simple.
You are there
comply.
And the next thing we do, we then take it
and we tweet on the
and social media. Yeah. There's something people don't send for me because they know, period, I'm not going to entertain it. And it's a lot of times it's not the little babies, the school children that's recording, huh?
It's
adults that's recording, and then we start to
and then, Joe, we glorify rebellion, we glorify lawless. That's what's happening, you know, because we want clicks. So we glorify lawlessness. We want likes and views. So we glorify those things, and that's why. But there are solutions.
The other thing is that when we are in trouble, we are the first to call the police.
Oh yes, we know how to.
And if the police cannot respond in the time that we respond, we beat the police. So we beat the police for doing the right thing, and we beat the police for doing, you know, not coming up to the standard.
Responding.
Let's take for example. Some years ago, the police officers decided, look, you see, after intercall, everybody needs to go home.
Yes.
Right? Everybody needs to go home. And stop liming behind the stones in town there and so forth. Parents.
Yes.
Parents.
There was a public outcry. How
the
dare
ones
you?
Saying that they and I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Right? So whatever the police decides to do in compliance with the law, in the exercise of the duty, enforcing the law, we still criticize them.
And all of these things over time, that's where the lack of respect and desensitization comes in. Because at home, mommy and daddy is going to chastise the police in the execution of their duties. How dare you? It's my child. I am minding him or her. There is a solution. And of course, before we leave, because it's 5 minutes to the hour, 5 minutes before the hour, and I want us each to offer at least one solution to this, because the purpose of this conversation is not just to agitate and highlight the issues, but how do we fix this, Adams?
Well, if I were to start with two words, I like the words here: accountability, expectation. Parents have expectation, but they are not exercising accountability. Therefore, if we can get our parents and teach our parents how to hold their students accountable, how to support their children, how to support their families, and hold them accountable for their behaviors, their attitudes, their successes, their failures, their everything, we can start their model that is broad. But if I were to narrow it down, for example, if my child is a runner and a track and field athlete, how do I show my support for my child and encourage my child to aim for the best? In the United States, they call them hockey moms. And in soccer mom, which whatever it is, those are some of the ways we can arrest some of the issues. Mommy is showing and daddy is showing that they're supporting me by holding me accountable, whether it's at school, on the playground, at church, whatever activity I go, I have to account to them and mommy and daddy, because I can account to them because they're supporting me.
Right.
So that's probably how I can narrow it down to a solution that we can exercise. And of course, church. We have to take spiritual values are important. Arthur said it very early, but I want to end my diatribe with that part. Spiritual values are important in any society, and hence we have to pass on spiritual values to our children. In days gone by, even if some parents didn't go to church, they send their children. But now they're not going and they're not sending. So those are probably two areas I would put forward as solutions.
Walter?
Introspect.
Before you do that, Walter, let me see if we can at least entertain this final caller.
Sure.
Let's see. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Gentlemen.
We
How are
almost
you?
at a time.
Well, this situation today, it come all back to money run things. Money and technology run things now. Because our parents, they cannot attend to children now. And a lot, because, for instance, when we used to go to school, we have to walk. Now, the parents have 2 cars. They have to drop the children to school. Right, maybe we didn't have a school bag. We had a slate. You don't have to have bags. Now, what is happening? The children have to have a phone. When we have a phone in a village, the closest phone is 2 miles or a mile. That's the closest phone. But no, the parents have to work to find all these things. Money for to buy the car, money to maintain the car, money for school books, money for food, money for clothes, everything. So that is what keeping the parents away from close to the children. The maintenance of operating the life today is very costly, and we're not seeing that. There's money run things.
Thank you, sir.
And technology, and we hardly could do anything about it.
I appreciate your contribution.
Because it's the same way, like we had, the gentleman said he had sheep. Nowadays, there's no place for young boys to grow sheep now. There's buildings and so forth there. And then even they go to get a little job now, the wages they want to pay you, they're not doing it. Most people that work in.
Thank you, sir. I understand, but we have to leave the conversation here for now for time. I did say to the gentleman that we're almost out of time. But again, sir, thank you, and I hope you appreciate. While I had to leave the conversation there, Otter.
Introspection. We have to do it as parents to understand where we are actually bringing our children. We have to teach our children to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. There is that. We have to teach them about that consciousness, that thing called conscience, to be able to guide how we do that. And we can get the foundation of issue for conscience when we stay closer to God. I would end like that.
Stay closer to God, and it's, as we keep saying, it has to be a multi-pronged approach. Yes. That where the church, where home doesn't quite deliver, there must be the school. Where the school doesn't quite deliver, there must be church. There must be organizations, community groups that allows and understand that the responsibility of because we talk about our future, but the future is not tomorrow, Adams.
It's right now.
The future is right now. And as the young men, the young women, want to encourage parents, love your children. Hug your boys. I know it's one of the challenges that a lot of men haven't quite figured out. How do you say to your boy child, I love you? I forgot myself the other day. I went to PBC, and then Jane had to remind me, Daddy, I don't mind the hugging, but next thing those convent girls, they're watching you hugging. And listen, he didn't mind the hugging because he's used to it. But I guess again, the environment, yes. And that's what you have to do.
And
but
the
you
perception
have to
of others.
And the perception. But we have to be able to say to our boys, I love you. Let them know that. We say to our girls. Easy. Don't let no man put no. But to our boys, we just assume that their natural instincts. No. Those behaviors have to be learned. And I want to say to parents that the responsibility for growing the children doesn't end when you and the man separate. It doesn't end. And some women, they use that as a pawn. Me, I ain't doing X, Y, and Z. And then you will tell the child all sort of things about the father X, Y, and Z. Folks, the responsibility for the nation's future resides in our hands. And we have to take responsibility, be honest with ourselves. Am I doing the best that I can with what I have? We have to have that serious conversation. Thank you, Captain Adams. Thank you, Captain Pierre. I will be calling on you again, and we're going to have this conversation. For all of our listeners, wherever you are, and our viewers, those of you on social media, I say good morning to each and every one of you, and I know your heart is with Grenada. Keep doing what you do. Live life, love life. Treat each day as though it's your last day. And whatever happens, always attempt to be the best version of yourself. We now join the BBC for a bulletin of news that's already in progress.
Alice Adderley.